Good morning, everyone. I'm Judge Carter. If I could please have the state and the defense place their appearances on the record.
Good morning. And good morning, Edith Bush for the Office of the State Attorney.
James Thompson, on behalf of the Office of the Public Defender.
All right. Oh, shoot. I thought this was Mr. Price. That one's Prince. Got it. Okay. Here we go. Mr. Price, good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, you were here in 20 CF 15033. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant. There's 8 counts of possession of material depicting sexual performance by a child, greater than 10 images. There's 3 counts of possession of material including sexual conduct by a child with intent to promote, and 3 counts of transmission of child pornography by an electronic device. Mr. Moses, did you want to be heard on the issue of bond?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm not sure if there was a hold on it or not. Mr. Price was arrested, I believe it was last week.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
wrote the
Okay, I didn't want
signed the
to,
warrant.
I didn't know if there was a hold for that. Obviously, the case, this was not considered a new crime. This was done contemporaneously, is my
Correct.
understanding. I would ask that the court set a $10,000 bond on counts 1 and maybe a $500 bond on the remaining counts. Mr. Price is a 20-year-old student at University of Central Florida. He lives with his family. The family is very involved with his life. I've explained to Mr. Price that chances are the court would enter an order prohibiting him from use of the internet, and as well as no contact with minor children. The only issue that we would have with that, Your Honor, is that he has a 16-year-old brother who lives in the home with him, and I would ask that to be an exception to the court's order.
Okay. Ms. Bush?
Yes, Your Honor. With that exception, if the court would order no unsupervised contact with anyone under 18, if that would...
I don't have a problem with that, but I would ask there to be an exception for the brother. I don't know if...
Well, and that was my reasoning, was for the brother.
Only because if the family left, I don't know they would have to take the brother with them. I don't believe that there's any allegations of any sort of mistreatment to a 16-year-old male or anything along those lines. I don't believe that is something that the court should be concerned about.
Okay.
Your Honor, it is standard procedure in matters like this, and the state would just
Make the
stand
request.
by its request.
Sure. All right, so Mr. Price, you are not to have any contact with anyone under the age of 18, with the exception of your brother. You are not to utilize the internet. I'm going to set bond on count 1 at $10,000, and bond on counts 2 through 11 will be $150. Anything else, Mr. Moses?
No, that's it, Your Honor.
All right.
Please have a good holiday.
Your
You
Honor,
as well.
the state would ask if he has a passport.
Sure. Mr. Price, do you have a passport, sir?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember. I think I've taken holiday outside of the country before, so I guess that would count.
Okay,
So
so
I've been on
what
a
I'm going to
cruise
put in the
before.
order is that if you do have a passport, you will need to surrender that to your attorney within 24 hours of your release from custody.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your position on the next one.
I'm gonna hold the state to their burden. I'm gonna hold the state to their burden.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
Christopher Prince.
Mr. Prince, this is case number 20 CF 15101. You were arrested for sexual activity with a child in a familial or custodial position. there's probable cause, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Ms. Bush, did you want to be heard with respect to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. The state is not going to make a argument for proof evident or presumption great. However, the state would ask the court to, the state's recommended bond would be $200,000 in this matter. And the reason for that is not only the facts of the case, but also taking into account Mr. Prince's criminal history that includes multiple convictions for crimes against persons which are violent crimes. The state would ask the court to set bond in the amount of $200,000, no contact with the victim, victim's family, or any witnesses, no contact with anyone under the age of 18, possess no weapons, firearms, or ammunition, and if he has a passport, to surrender the passport within 6 hours of release.
All right, Mr. Thompson?
Your Honor, because there's no real tangible evidence outside the alleged victim statements linking my client to the crime, Your Honor, I would ask the court set bond between $50,000 and $100,000, Your Honor.
Mr. Prince, where do you live?
I live in Orlando in it's a condominium slash a hotel.
Okay. How long have you lived there?
I have lived there 2 years.
All right, sir. Do you rent that?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you rent the property?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And where do you work?
I work Miller Electrical Services,
And how long have you worked there?
almost 6 years.
How long have you lived in the Central Florida area?
My whole life.
Do you have family here?
All my family's here.
How much money do you make per year, sir?
Gross or net?
Net.
Maybe 28,000.
Do you have a passport?
No, I do not.
Do you have any money in a savings account?
About $300.
300?
Yeah. Actually, that's checking account. I'm sorry. I don't have any savings accounts.
Mr. Prince, you are not to have any contact with the alleged victim. You're not to have any contact with any witnesses in the case or any of the victim's family members. You are not to have any contact with any children under the age of 18. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms. I'm going to set your bond in the amount of $50,000. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm not certain, but I would imagine that DCF is involved in this matter. So if we can have an order to comply with DCF if there's an investigation.
Mr. Prince, you'll also need to comply with any DCF orders if there
Okay.
are any related to the case, okay?
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Stephen James Bond, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, your name?
David Whirling?
Mr. Whirling, you failed to appear for court on a petty theft offense in 20 MM 7928. Ms. Bush, is there an offer for Mr. Whirling?
A moment, Your Honor.
That you had a public defender previously?
On this case?
Yes.
Okay.
And he has 4 days.
Thank you. The state's offers an adjudication of guilt, time served, and court costs. Do you see that, Ms. Bush?
That's what I was looking to pull up, Your Honor.
Okay, it's in the court minutes.
It should also include no return to the scene, abide by
Trespass.
trespass warning, no contact with victim or witnesses.
Mr. Whirling, did you want to enter the plea today, sir?
Yeah, no contest.
All right, did you read the plea form?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you read the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights?
No, ma'am,
Are you on probation?
not right now.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
Yeah,
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
no, I'm not right now.
Okay, sir. I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 4 days in jail. You've got credit for 4 days' time served. You're not to return to the scene. You need to abide by the trespass warning, and you can't have any contact with the witnesses. You will have to pay court costs, which will be due by December 23rd of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
This way.
Mr. Domingo? Are we into the Spanish?
Spanish, Your Honor.
Great, okay.
Thank you.
Good morning, this is Dalia Romero, Spanish interpreter on the line. Already sworn in to, sorry, not sworn in yet, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Romero. If you'd please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear to translate from Spanish to English, from English to Spanish, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do, Dalia Romero, state certified Spanish interpreter.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we are in courtroom 1 at the DRC.
Sí, sí.
He can hear the interpreter.
Great. This is 20 CT 7971. Sir, you were arrested for driving with a suspended license. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance at this time, sir. Thank you.
Sí, está bien, gracias. ¿Hoy salgo?
So do I get out today?
Yes. You'll be given a court date of when you need to return when you're released.
Oh, sí, está bien, gracias.
Okay, that's fine, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, may I have a name for the defendant, please?
James Domingo?
Thank you.
Sure. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Gómez, Freddy Gómez Correa. Ajá.
Frederick Gomez Correa.
All right. How about Mr. Mencias Flores?
He bonded, Your Honor.
You did. Oh, thank you. All right. Mr. Gomez, sir, you are here in case number 13 CF 15230. You failed to appear, sir, back in March of 2014 for trafficking in 28 grams or more of heroin and possession of drug paraphernalia. The bond is set at none. I'll appoint the public defender if not previously appointed. You'll need to have the lawyer file a bond motion in Division 22. Thank you, sir.
He also has an immigration
Oh.
detainer, Your Honor.
¿Cuándo va a ser cuándo se va a ver?
So when would I have court?
I don't know when your next court date will be. Your lawyer will have to let you know that. Sir, you also do have an immigration detainer.
Ok, está bien.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Eric and Aponte. Eric Aponte.
Eric Aponte.
Mr. Aponte, this is 20 CF 15097. You were arrested for battery by strangulation, child abuse, and assault. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is $1,500. Your bond on count 2 is $150. Your bond on count 3 is $100. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. You're to abide by any DCF orders. You may have a one-time return with the police to get your things if needed, sir. Thank you.
Sí, entiendo.
I understand.
All right, sir, thank you. All right, Madam Interpreter, that's the last Spanish case. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
You too.
You're welcome.
So are we calling takings on the record?
Oh, that's the one we already did.
It's
No, we don't need it.
Okay, so.
Oh, yeah, can we put it on the record just
Sure.
to be safe?
Okay. All right, so this case is a recall from yesterday, Rodney Higgins. It's an over-the-line arrest from Osceola County. The police had arrested a different defendant. Pardon me?
Same defendant, different name.
Yes, this is the recall from yesterday. So the name that was of the person who, the correct person was arrested for the crime, but the police booked him under the name Arnold Donovan Sweeney. The correct name of the defendant and the person who was arrested is Rodney Terrell Higgins Jr. So we're gonna enter an amended order to reflect the correct name of the defendant. All right. Sir, good morning. Your name?
My name James Smith.
Tell me.
James Smith.
James Smith. Thank you, sir. Mr. Smith, you are here in case number 20 CF 14948. You were arrested for possession of methamphetamine. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond, sir, is $500. You also have an out-of-county warrant from Marion County, Florida. The bond is set at none, sir.
Yes, ma'am. That's for driving without a license.
Let me see. And yes, that's right.
Yes, ma'am. I've been trying to get my license, but due to Chicago, they won't release it. Chicago will not release it because parking tickets, and like I told, I'm sorry. Chicago would not release my driving record or driving privileges due to me owing parking tickets, and like I told them, that was years ago, but they just still do not want to do that. I don't know what's wrong with them. I owe like $6,000 in parking tickets, but it was initially $500, but every year it doubles, and now it's all the way up to $6,000. I can't afford it.
I understand.
And I just bought a car, and I drove it down here from Chicago, and it was taken from the, not saying it was taken rightfully, but it was taken because of, they didn't mail me my papers to the car. In other words, it's like they still have my...
I hear you, Mr. Smith. Listen, I'm going to set your bond in the amount of $500. You need to contact the clerk of the court in Marion County to see when your next court date's going to be. You understand?
Okay, so 500, how much is that?
I don't know. If you have a bond, your total bonds are $1,000. So you'll have to call the bondsman and ask
Okay.
them how much money that'll actually be. I can't say for sure.
Okay, I have that in my property. I have it. I'm sorry.
Okay, do you have someone you can call to help you with that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, I think. Merry Christmas, Your Honor.
You too, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. Thomas, he refused court.
Danielle
She.
Thomas?
She.
Okay. I'll find a waiver of her appearance based upon her refusal to come to court in 20 CF 15050. She was arrested for fleeing and eluding grand theft of a motor vehicle, driving without a valid driver's license, and possession of drug paraphernalia. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. Bond on count 1 is $2,500. Bond on count 2 is $150. Bond on counts 3 and 4 is $100. She's not to drive without a valid driver's license. And I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Okay. Hey, how you doing, ma'am?
Are you Mr. Calvo?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, this is 20
Oh, put my
CF
hands down?
15098. You were arrested for battery and for false imprisonment. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You're to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with the police to get your things if needed. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Sir, I'm going to place you on pretrial release.
Okay.
Thank you. Ma'am, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name?
Tamaya Cobb.
You Miss Cobb?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, this is 20 CF 15099. You were arrested for aggravated stalking with a credible threat. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Ma'am, you are not to have any contact with the victim. You are not to return to the scene. You may go back one time with the police to get any of your things if needed, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. I'm going to place you on pretrial release, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Sheena Johnson.
Ms. Johnson, this is 20 MM 8845. You were arrested for violation of a pretrial release condition on a domestic violence case. Your bond, ma'am, is set at none. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you if they weren't previously appointed, and they'll need to file a bond motion in Division 50. Thank you. Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Good morning, Judge. It's Ginger Renee Odom.
Ma'am, you are here in 20 CF 14804. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant for tampering with a witness to hinder communication to law enforcement and battery domestic violence. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Sir, good morning.
How you doing, Your Honor?
Could you raise your right hand to be sworn in, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor.
Swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
Yes, yes. Your Honor, I would like to say I would like my wife to come home.
All right, can you just give me 1 minute, all right? I'm going to let you speak. I just
okay.
need to ask you, first of all, tell me your name.
Charles Justin Odom.
Okay, Mr. Odom. And based upon what you just stated, I believe you do want to have contact with your wife. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you afraid of her?
No, ma'am.
Do you have children?
Yes, we do.
Do you have any concerns about your children's safety if I were to allow contact between the two of you?
Oh, no, not at all.
And have there been any instances of violence in the past between the two of you?
Not really that bad. Nothing.
What does that mean?
Nothing that violent.
So there have been no previous instances of violence between the two of you?
Well, there has, yeah, but nothing.
When was that?
Let's see. Just here recent, not too long ago.
Excuse me?
Just recent, not too long ago.
I'm sorry, sir. It's so hard to hear. If you could come closer to the microphone.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long ago.
What was the nature of the
Like
incident?
a month, I guess a little over a month ago.
All right, well, tell me what happened.
It was like a punch in the arm.
It was
Nothing.
what?
It was just like a punch in the arm.
Did you punch her or did she punch you?
She punched me.
Are you scared of her?
No, ma'am. No.
Is your children witnessing this behavior?
No. No.
How old are your kids?
My daughter's 14, but she don't live with us.
I see. Are there any other children in the home?
No, no,
No?
no.
Ms. Bush, do you have any questions?
And Mr. Odom, the incident that you talked about that was recent, could that have possibly been December 17th of this year? So recent as in a couple of weeks ago or a week or so ago?
No, ma'am. She was in custody then.
Okay.
No, she wasn't with me.
And have there been prior incidents of violence in which you were the listed victim prior to even that?
Yeah, but yeah, there has been.
And do you believe that alcohol or any kind of controlled substance contributed to her behavior?
Yeah, there was.
Okay. And if something like this particular behavior or the prior incidents were to happen again, would you be comfortable calling law enforcement if you felt that you were going to be harmed or your safety was in jeopardy?
Yes, ma'am.
I have no further questions. Thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Thompson, did you have any questions for the witness?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Odom, I'm going to order that you are not to have any hostile contact with your husband. Do you understand what that means?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You're also not to possess or consume any alcohol or controlled substances without a valid prescription.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Bond on count 1 is going to be set at $1,000. Bond on count 2 is $100. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, is there any way I can ask for her to be ROR'd? Because I can't really afford the bonds right now. It's Christmas and saving up money to buy a place to live.
Ma'am, where do you live?
Is there any way we can release her like pre-trial or?
Yeah, actually.
I live with my husband, but since there's no hostile contact, I have two places. I could go to my father-in-law's, but if you order no hostile, I can go home with my husband. Okay. Exactly. We're going to go to marriage counseling and start working on our marriage.
You're on probation in Osceola County?
Yes, ma'am. I got on probation there, but they said upon my release, I could check in because I haven't been released yet.
I see. Okay. All right. How long have you lived, so you live in Osceola County or live in Orange County?
We live in Osceola, but
Okay.
we have a family that lives in Orlando.
How long have you lived in Osceola County?
For about 2 months, 3 months.
Where were you living before that?
Orlando.
Okay.
6 years.
Got it. Are you working?
No, ma'am.
Well, I will release you, ma'am, on your own recognizance. You're on probation. You're going to be supervised
Yes,
by
ma'am, and I have
probation.
to go check in as soon as I'm released because I cannot mess that up.
All right. And then you're going to need to contact the public defender here in Orange County on this case.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that they have your correct contact information and
Yes,
that way you
ma'am.
know when your next court date is.
So there's no bond at all. It's just release on your own requirement.
That's right. Subject to the conditions I stated though, right? So no hostile
Yes, ma'am.
contact, no weapons, no alcohol or drugs without a prescription.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Thank you. Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
You too, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
You have a blessed day.
You too.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
so much.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
Good morning, Taquan Taylor.
How about Mr. Prudencio Sanchez Aguilar?
He refused, Your Honor.
All right, just one second, Mr. Taylor. In 20 CF 15056, I'm finding a waiver of Mr. Aguilar's appearance based upon his refusal to attend court. He was arrested for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent him. He's not to have any contact with the victim. He's to maintain a separate residence. He can return one time with the police to get his things if needed. And he's not to possess any weapons or firearms. Bond will be $2,500. He'll have to be brought back to court, though, prior to bonding because he does have an immigration hold. All right, Mr. Taylor, sir, you are here in 20 CF 15102. You were arrested for false imprisonment and tampering with a witness to hinder communication to law enforcement. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You're to maintain a separate residence. You can return one time with the police to get your things, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms, sir. Mr. Taylor, I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Good morning. My name is Wanda Alvarado.
Ma'am, you're here in 20 MM 9052. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you.
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
not to have any contact with the victim. You're to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You may return with the police one time to get your things. Your bond, ma'am, is $500 or pretrial release if you qualify. Thank you. Good morning. Your name, sir?
Hakeem Farrow.
Mr. Farrell, you're here in 20 MM 9045. You were arrested for battery. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You're to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You can have a one-time return with the police to get your things if needed. I'm going to place you on pretrial release, sir. Thank you. Good morning. Your name?
Jose Gustavo Gonzalez.
Mr. Gonzalez, you're here in 20 MM 1031. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You're to maintain a separate residence. You can go back one time with the police to get your things, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. I'm going to place you on pretrial release, sir. Thank you. Ma'am, good morning. Tell me your name.
Daniela Sagney.
Ma'am, you're here in 20 MM 9054. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You're to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You may have a one-time return with the police to get your things, and I'm going to place you on pretrial release, ma'am. Thank you. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Damian Cheney.
Mr. Cheney, you are here in 20 CT 2697. You failed to appear for court on a driving while license suspended charge. Ms. Bush, did you have an offer for Mr. Cheney?
Yes, Your Honor. It's an adjudication of guilt. Credit for time served, I don't know what that is.
Yes, 5 days.
5 days, Orange County Jail, 5 days credit, time served, $150 fine, and court costs, Your Honor. Don't drive without a valid driver's license.
Mr. Cheney, did you want to accept that offer from the state?
Sure.
Okay, and just so you know, looking at your driving record, this will be your first conviction for driving while license suspended in the last 5 years. So if you get 2 more, you'll lose your ability to get a driver's license for 5 years. Do you understand?
Understood.
Did you read the plea form, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights that you're giving up?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No.
Do you understand if you are not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No.
All right, so I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 5 days in jail. You've got credit for 5 days time served. You're not to drive without a valid driver's license. You'll have to pay court costs, which is going to include a $150 fine payable by December 23rd of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal.
Okay.
Thank you. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Henry Montvermeer.
Sir, you're here in 20 CT 7972. You were arrested for DUI. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or controlled substances without a valid prescription. And your bond is $500, sir. Thank you.
Your Honor, would the court have any objection to a ROR or pretrial release? He has no criminal history and his only Florida arrest was for possession of marijuana under 20 grams. And 9 times out of 10, he'll probably qualify for some sort of,
Yeah, I'll put Mr. Montpremier on pretrial release.
thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Alvarado's behavior, Your Honor?
All right. I'll find a waiver of his appearance based upon his inability to come to court due to his behavior. He was arrested in 20 CT 7973 for DUI. There's probable cause. Bond is $500. And in 20 MM 9051, he was arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause. His bond is $100. He's not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. And I'll appoint the public defender to represent him. Mr. Hoover, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
All right.
You were arrested in 20 CO 1066 for soliciting without a permit. There's probable cause. Ms. Bush, is there an offer for Mr. Hoover?
Yes, Your Honor. The offer would be an adjudication of guilt, 2 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served, and court costs, Your Honor.
Ms. Hoover, did you want to accept the offer?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, did you read the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions about any of the rights on the form?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you are not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir. I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days time served. You'll have to pay court costs, which are going to be due by December 23rd of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal. I'm not going to revoke your release, sir, on your other case. Thank you.
You'll put time served on him.
Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Patricia Miles, Your Honor.
Miss Miles, you were here in 20MM 9047. You were arrested for petty theft.
Yes, ma'am.
There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you.
Okay.
You are not to have any contact with the victim. I realize you live in the same apartment complex,
ma'am.
but you're not to go near her
I
apartment.
won't.
Do you
I
understand?
won't, Your Honor. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Merry Christmas.
You
Thank
too.
you. Thank you.
Good morning. Your name?
Robert Nielsen, ma'am.
Mr. Nielsen, sir, you are here in 20 CO 1067 for soliciting without a permit. There's probable cause. Ms. Bush, you have an offer for Mr. Nielsen?
Yes, Your Honor, it's an adjudication of guilt, 2 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served, and court costs.
Did you want to accept the offer, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you have to be really careful. You're going to get hit by a car. I mean, I know you've seen how people drive around here,
Yes, ma'am.
and it's super dangerous to do that on those intersections, especially those big intersections like OBT and Holden. That's really, really unsafe.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you want to take the state's offer?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you read the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights?
No.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No.
All right, I'll accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail. You've got credit for 2 days time served.
All right.
You will have to pay court costs due by December 23rd of 2021, and you have 30 days to appeal.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Robert Pearson.
Mr. Pearson, sir, you're here in 20MM 9046. You were arrested for petty theft. There is probable cause. Ms. Bush, is there an offer for Mr. Pearson?
No, Your Honor.
All right,
This
sir.
is a civilian witness, victim, Your Honor.
Mr. Pearson, your bond is $500. You're not to have any contact with the victim, sir.
I can't hear you, ma'am.
I told you your bond is $500 and you're not to have any contact with the victim.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So what does that mean?
What part?
Yeah. Your Honor, you have any objection to ROR in this case that his last criminal conviction was 15 years ago?
And it's a misdemeanor, Your Honor. I have a job. I could pay. I could show up in court.
Mr. Pearson, you also have an out-of-state detainer, so I'm not going to grant that request today. Thank you.
So how long I have to stay in jail? To my
Until you
next
post your bond or until you resolve that case?
resolve what case though?
The petty theft that you just saw me for.
So if I don't post the bond, how long will I have to stay in jail?
Probably a month.
A month?
Probably. Close to it. Oh, hi, good morning. Tell me your name.
Brittany Shattuck.
Ms. Shattuck, this is 20MM 9050. You were arrested for trespass on property after morning and for petty theft.
Yes, ma'am.
There is probable cause. Ms. Bush, is there an offer for Ms. Shattuck?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
Based on history.
On what?
On her history.
History, okay. Ms. Shattuck, at this time, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance. You are not to return to the Walmart.
Okay. I'm not gonna, I promise. I wasn't thinking.
Ms. Shattuck, you don't have to explain what happened to me today, okay? I'm just letting you know that you cannot go back to the Walmart, and then
Yes,
they're going to
ma'am.
give you a court date when you're released, and you need to make sure you appear at that court date.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
My name is Lionel Wilkerson, Your Honor.
Mr. Wilkerson, sir, you're here in 20MM 9035 for soliciting without a permit and roadway solicitation. There is probable cause. Ms. Bush, is there an offer for Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes, Your Honor. It's an adjudication of guilt, 4 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served, and court costs.
You want to accept that, sir?
When I got to be in jail 2 more days?
One more day. You'll get released tomorrow.
Hey, ma'am, if I be in jail, could I do this other day on the weekend? Because I lose my resident of staying. I'm staying in a homeless shelter. If I lose this place to stay, I'll be on the street.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wilkerson. Just a second,
Your
please.
Honor, the state will amend to 2 days credit time served.
All right. So you'll be released today, Mr. Wilkerson.
Thank you very,
But
very
listen,
much,
I'm going to tell
ma'am.
you the same thing I just told the person a couple people before you. You're going to get yourself killed. Okay? You got to find someplace else to be because this area right here is really, really dangerous to be standing on the side of the road like that. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, state.
And no action on his
I'm not
Audubon
going to
case?
take any action on the Audubon case, but I do need to do his plea. Especially if you're stepping out in the road, Mr. Wilkerson, I'm telling you, someone's going to hit you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right? I would hate for that to happen. Did you read the plea form?
Ma'am?
Did you read the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about any of the
No,
rights on
ma'am,
the
I
form?
don't have any questions, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol,
No,
or
ma'am.
medication? All right, Mr. Wilkerson, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail. You've got credit for 2 days' time served. You'll have to pay court costs. Those will be due by December 23rd of 2021, and you have 30 days to appeal.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very, very much.
Good morning, your name?
Byron Bracey.
Mr. Bracey, sir, you are here in 20 MM 6991. It is alleged that you have violated your probation by committing the new law offense of battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting officer without violence, and 7 counts of sanitary nuisance. The bond is set at none, sir. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Mr. Thompson, are you going to enter a denial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right, this is a Division 82 case. Your VOP status date is going to be January 19th at 9 a.m. Thank you, sir.
What courtroom would that be in, Your Honor?
Oh, that will be in courtroom, did I say 82, Division 82? 10B.
Okay, thank you.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, sir, you're here in 20 MO 1355. You were arrested for disorderly conduct.
Ma'am, I do not know anything about disorderly conduct. I was brought here under distress.
All right. Well, there is probable cause. Ms. Bush, do you have an offer for Mr. Grantham?
Yes, Your Honor. It's an adjudication of guilt, 2 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served, and court costs.
So, Mr. Grantham, did you want to resolve the case today, or were you intending on fighting the charge?
Well, I don't want to waste the court time, ma'am, by taking this to trial. But it's possible I can leave up out here today. You can forget you ever seen me.
So the state's offer is a credit time served offer. Did you want to accept that and just resolve the case today?
Correct.
All right, sir. Did you read the plea form?
Pardon me, ma'am?
Pull your mask up. There you go. Did you read the plea form?
Did I read the police report?
No, the plea form.
Did I read the plea form?
Yes.
No, I did not.
Okay. So you understand, though, as we just talked about, if you enter into this plea today, you're not going to get to have a trial on your case.
Correct.
Okay. And you're okay with that?
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Happy holiday, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Mr. Grantham, are you on probation?
Ma'am,
Are you on probation?
ma'am, I'm not on anything.
All right, sir. Do you understand if you are not a U.S. citizen that this plea will result in your deportation?
Deportation to where?
If you're not a U.S. citizen.
Oh, man, come on, man. I understand what you're saying now.
All right, sir.
Yes,
And
I do.
are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No.
Okay. Well, then I'll accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail, and you've got credit for 2 days' time served. You're going to have to pay court costs due by December 23rd of 2021, and you have 30 days to appeal.
Court calls, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Wait a minute, ma'am.
Pardon
No,
me?
I mean no disrespect. Can I say something?
Go ahead.
You know, I was minding my business on the street, you know. officer asked to see my, asked me a few questions,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I understand.
And
sir.
now I'm here to pay a court cause.
I know.
I mean,
But it's part of
I
the-
was
it's
being
part of-
harassed on
I
the
know,
street.
it's part of the agreement, though. Thank
Part
you,
of-
sir.
Wow.
Take care of yourself.
Yep, happy holiday to y'all.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
Shattuck Alexander, good morning.
Sir, you're here in 18 CF 6991. You were arrested for allegedly violating your probation by moving without getting permission. The bond is set at none, sir. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you, and you are going to see Judge Lattimore in the next 7 to 10 days.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, the moving violation.
Don't.
Oh.
It's in the case. So we're doing before this, I heard I'll take my car back to that house at the front. She already gave me the bond, just take it and go. So we take care of that.
Ms. Davis, do you have a score sheet, or I mean, an updated face sheet for him? Mine didn't print with like any
There's no bond, just to be on Facebook.
information.
Yes, you can judge my can't do it. You have to argue that in front of the judge. She's not going to.
I will have to have someone plug that information in because it's the same on mine.
Okay. Oh, that's fine. I don't need it, Ms. Davis. You're good. Thank you. Good morning. Your name?
Arkia Casamajor.
Ma'am, you have 2 cases. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in both. 19 CF 8117, it is alleged, ma'am, that you have violated your probation by committing a new law offense of carrying a concealed weapon, that you didn't complete your 30 hours of community service, and you didn't complete the impulse control class. The bond in that matter is set at none. I'll appoint the public defender. You're going to see Judge Lattimore in the next 7 to 10 days. And in 20 MM 1380, you failed to appear for court related to carrying a concealed weapon, and the bond is $250, and that was an FT for arraignment. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Jones,
Mr. Jones refused, Your Honor.
I'll find a waiver of his appearance based upon his refusal to come to court. Not going to take any action on the out on bond case. 20 CF 5337, he allegedly violated his probation. The bond is set at none. Then he's got an out-of-county warrant out of Seminole County related to a petty theft. That bond is set at none. Another petty theft warrant out of Seminole County, bond set at none. Another petty theft warrant out of Seminole County, bond is set at none. Another Seminole County petty theft warrant, bond is set at none. Okay. Mr. Luke? Mr. Luke, good morning. You are here on a violation of probation in 18 CF 3205 and 18 CF 1349. It is alleged that you committed a new law offense of aggravated assault with a firearm on December 21st of 2020 in each case. That will provide the probable cause for the violations of probation. The bond is set at none. The public defender will be appointed to represent you, and you'll see Judge Lattimore in the next 7 to 10 days. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Rochelle West.
Miss West, you are here in case number 18 CF 15847 for allegedly violating your probation by committing the offense of burglary of a dwelling, criminal mischief, on December 21st in Orange County, Florida. That will provide the basis for the violation of probation, ma'am. Your bond is set at none. I'll appoint the public defender. You're going to see Judge Lattimore in the next 7 to 10 days. Okay. Thank you. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Tyler Anderson, ma'am.
Mr. Anderson, you are here on a out-of-county warrant out of Martin County, Florida, related to driving while license suspended. The bond is set at none. I will appoint a public defender here in Orange County to represent you to help you coordinate with Martin County, sir. We'll also reach out to Martin County to see if they'd like to modify the bond, and if so, I'll either enter an order or bring you back to court to let you know what the result was. Thank you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Your name?
Quentin Darby.
Mr. Darby, you were here for an out-of-county warrant out of Osceola County, Florida, related to a violation of a domestic injunction and written threats to kill. Bond on count 1 is going to be $1,500. Bond on count 2 is $500. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms, sir. And I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
Demetrius Hall.
Mr. Hall, you were here for an out-of-county warrant out of Polk County related to possession of methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia. You failed to appear for court. Bond on count 1 is $2,000. Bond on count 1 is $1,000, sir. Thank you. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Sean Horton.
Mr. Horton, you were here for an out-of-county warrant out of, looks like Duval County, Florida, related to a violation of probation. Your bond, sir, is set at none. I will appoint the public defender here in Orange County to represent you, to assist you in coordinating with Duval County. I'll reach out to Duval County to see if they'd like to set a bond in your matter. If so, I will bring you back to court and let you know what the result was. Otherwise, you'll need to work with the public defender here in Orange County on your case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, your name?
Dylan Jones.
Mr. Jones, you are here for an out-of-county warrant out of Polk County, Florida. It's a violation of probation. The bond is set at none. Polk County is going to come and pick you up, and you'll see a judge when you get to first appearance.
Okay, and
Thank
that's
you.
after I handle my case here, right?
Do you have an Orange County open case?
Yes.
Then yes, they won't come get you until you resolve or bond out on your Orange County case.
It's not open anymore. He was ROR'd yesterday
Okay.
on the case.
So I guess, was it a 33-day motion maybe? He was just released as to that case?
Yeah, because he was arrested on the 14th, so I don't think it was a 33-day.
Oh, okay, so you were released on the other Orange County case yesterday, you were ROR'd, and so now the only hold you would have, or is that the only hold?
Yes.
The Polk County? So Polk County should come pick you up.
Okay.
Thank you. Ma'am, good morning, your name?
Amy Long.
Ms. Long, you were here for an out-of-county warrant. It's an on-view violation of probation for your probation out of Lake County based upon your new law arrest in 20 CF 15051 on December 22nd here in Orange County, Florida. There is probable cause for the violation of probation. Your bond will be set at none, ma'am. Once you resolve your Orange County cases or bond out, Lake County will come and pick you up. Thank you. Good morning, your name?
My name's Anthony McGill.
Mr. McGill, you were here for an out-of-county warrant out of Brevard County, Florida, related to violation of drug offender probation and possession of cocaine.
Yes, ma'am.
Your bond is set at none. Brevard County will come and pick you up, sir. I'm not going to take any action on your Orange County case.
All right.
All right, thank you. We just need dates.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Twenty CT 7763 Bruce Bland.
He's medically young.
Mr. Thompson, it's my understanding that none of the arraignments are here. Do you want to enter pleas of not guilty for each defendant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So on Mr. Bland's case, he's Division 84. Pretrial conference is going to be February 15th at 10 a.m. in courtroom 4B. 18th,
I'm sorry, that was 4D or 4B?
4B as in boy.
Thank you.
And then an 18 CT 48 Dosha Smith. This is actually a VOP, it looks like. In Division 85. So the VOP status hearing will be January 15th at 9 a.m. in courtroom 4A.
Yes, what was her reason for not being present?
Oh, I'm sorry, Dexter, will you tell me the
It's
reason?
medical, Your Honor.
Are these all medical?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
On Anthony Lewis, 20 mm 8276. Mr. Lewis is not here. He's in medical quarantine. The public defender is entering a plea of not guilty. The court date is in Division 81.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Anthony Lewis bonded.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is Jacqueline Wing medical?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay. 20 mm 2655. The public defender is entering a plea of not guilty. That's a Division 82 case. Pretrial conference January 25th at 10:30 a.m. in courtroom 10B. Ms. Bush, just let me know when you're ready on the 33-day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Glover Gambles is present here. I don't know what her case is though.
The state's ready, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, sure. 20 CF 13905 Timothy Capron.
What was the last name, Your Honor?
Capron, C-A-P-R-O-N.
And information was filed on December 22nd. Filing ID is 118630724.
That'll be denied. 20 CF 13882 Timothy Capron.
A notice of non-filing on December 22nd.
That'll be granted. 20 CF 13166 Jermaine Chambers.
A no information notice on December 22nd.
That'll be granted. 20 CF 13737 Robert Harris.
A notice of non-filing on December 18th.
That will be granted. 20 CF 13959 Richard Herbert.
A notice of non-filing on December 21st.
That will be granted. 20 CF 8486 Brady Williams.
A no information notice on December 22nd.
And that will also be granted. Ms. Glover Gambles, who do you have this morning?
Your Honor, I'm not sure that it's this one. You have a,
What was it? Oh. Roby? Do you have the case number? Any chance?
It's 2019 CF 5104B as in boy. Oh.
Thank you.
No, I was just. Huh? And the division court would have to hear that. Your Honor, is the court going to do the add-on 33-day as well?
Oh, did I miss that?
And that's also Timothy Capron, but it's in 20 CF 13344. And it was a public defender add-on, but this APD just, no, it's Gary Schwartz, I'm sorry.
you have the list, the list.
I have the docket page.
Oh, let me see. I might have it. Hold on.
Okay.
I gave you my copy.
Oh, okay, that's okay. All right, let's push, and that's 20 CF 13344.
Yes, Your Honor. And information was filed on December 22nd. Filing ID is 118627829.
Thank you, that'll be denied. Afternoon session.
It's okay, Your Honor. I just came a little early because the last time I came for afternoon case, when I got here, Ms. Bush told me it already court had just closed. So I just came early.
Okay.
I might just go back. Oh, the guy back there. I just asked that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Ms. Bush, do you mind if we hear the case?
State has no objection, Your
Okay,
Honor.
Ms. Clovergams, we can pull the defendant until you can go on with your day.
Your Honor,
Yep. Cash.
Your Honor, can I approach, have a question for you?
Who's the judge?
No,
2019 CF 5104. Sir, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
My chair is Roby.
All right, Mr. Roby, you were here because you failed to appear for a determination of counsel hearing in that matter. The bond is set at none. Ms. Glover Gambles, did you want to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Roby was actually incarcerated in Georgia.
Okay.
When he was released, he had a violation of probation. And he was arrested. And he was not able to return to court because of his incarceration. It's not because of something that was built. At that time, he had retained counsel.
Okay.
But it looks like, from my review of the court file, that the counsel didn't let the court know that. In fact, he represented that he didn't know the whereabouts of Mr. Roby, but there written correspondence between him and Mr. Roby. There's correspondence between him and Mr. Roby's wife. Roby was just not able to.
When was Mr. Roby, he was in Georgia, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what are the dates of incarceration for Mr. Roby in Georgia?
Well, he says that he was incarcerated from July of last year, which was 2019. And I believe 2 weeks ago. And he was released there and transported back to Florida. Time to wait to come back.
Okay, so if you look at the beginning of the case, the information was filed in August of 2019. Mr. Roby was never taken into custody on the case. Let me see this though.
Says he was arrested in May 2019. Sorry. With ROR because of a failure to file.
Yeah, I see. It shows under case number 19 CF 5175, and then that was consolidated with the case that we have today, which is 19 CF 5104 BO. He was ROR. And then the state, that 3 months later, filed an information. Consolidated the case. But he never was on bond in that case, right? He was just on his ROR.
It looks like the co-defendant was gone in the amount of about $25,000.
here, correct?
Ma'am.
Did you serve your time in Brantley County, Georgia? Were you in the county jail or were you in the
County
DOC?
jail. In the county.
In Brantley County, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
I believe it was about 2 weeks ago, they time served Your Honor, that allowed him.
Right.
Your Honor, the state just wants to clarify that the failure to appear was in June of this year, is that?
Right. He's saying he's been incarcerated in Georgia since 2019.
Since July of 2019.
2019. Your name is Martez?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I've been incarcerated the whole time.
Ms. Glover Gamble, what bond amount are you requesting?
Your Honor, request a bond in the range of 20.
Mr. Roby, where are you gonna live?
291 Lala Lane.
Where?
291 Lala Lane, Aponte, Florida.
He has a wife, Your Honor.
Okay.
And 3 small children.
That live here in Orlando?
Yes, they live on a property.
Okay.
Wife works at a local medical.
Ms. Bush, did you want to be heard?
Other than to ask that he fills out a change of address form and provide it to the clerk's office.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Roby, I think there's 2 counts. The bond will be $20,000, and on count 2, the bond will be $5,000. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. You're not to return to the scene of the offense or have any contact with the victims or witnesses. And then you'll need to fill out the change of address form. Okay. All right. Anything else?
Nothing further.
Okay. Then court will be in recess. afternoon. I'm Judge Carter. If I could have the state and the defense place their appearances on the record, please.
Good afternoon. Edith Bush for the Office of the State Attorney.
Jay Thompson on behalf of the Office of the Public Defender.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hello, good afternoon, sir. Your name?
D'Angelo Allston.
Mr. Allston, you're here in 20 CF 15082. You were arrested for attempted burglary of a conveyance. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victim. Your bond is $1,000, sir.
They.
Thank you.
Man, I ain't did nothing, bro. I ain't got no camera, nothing did nothing. I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
Sir, good afternoon. Your name?
Sylvester Archibald.
Mr. Archibald, this is 20 CF 15091. You were arrested for possession of cocaine, possession of cannabis less than 20 grams, and possession of drug paraphernalia. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. I'm going to place you on pretrial release, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Nicholas Blanchard.
Mr. Blanchard, this is 20 CF 15069. You were arrested for child abuse pursuant to a warrant. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim or any witnesses in this case. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond is $1,000, sir. Thank you. Ma'am, good afternoon. Your name?
Rebecca Victoria Bauer.
Ms. Bauer, this is 20 CF 15090. You were arrested for possession of heroin, petty theft, and possession of a prescription drug without a prescription. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance at this time, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Your name?
Jonathan Guivas.
Sir, you were here in 20 CF 14299. You were arrested for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. There is probable cause. Actually, this was pursuant to a warrant. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond is $10,000, sir. Thank you.
Any action on that out on bond case, Your Honor?
Oh, I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case. Good afternoon. Your name?
Hi, Brett Downs.
Mr. Downs, you have two cases. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in both.
Thank you, ma'am.
20 CF 13714, you were arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. This was pursuant to a warrant. Your bond, sir, is $5,000.
Thank you, ma'am.
In 20 CF 14522, you were arrested for failing to report vacating a resident within 48 hours and failing to report a name or residence change. Bond on count 1 will be $500. Bond on count 2 will be $500.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, you do have reporting requirements when you're released from the jail. And
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
aggravated assault case, you're not to have any contact with the victim or possess any weapons.
Thank you, ma'am, very much.
Oh, sure, sir. Thank you.
This is so. Thank you, ma'am. God bless you.
All right. Good afternoon. Your name?
Dennis Ferris.
Mr. Ferris, you got 3 cases. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in all of them. In 20 CT 7364, you failed to appear on a driving while license suspended case. The bond is $1,000. 20 CT 7967, you were arrested for driving while license suspended. There's probable cause. The bond is $500. And then in 20 CF 15100, you were arrested for trafficking in methamphetamine greater than 14 grams, possession of methamphetamine with intent, and possession of drug paraphernalia. There is probable cause. You're not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. Your bond on count 1, it will be $20,000. Bond on count 2, $150. Bond on count 3, $100. Thank you.
So what is the total bond amount, ma'am?
I'm not sure. Ma'am, good afternoon. Your name?
Tiffany Francis.
Ms. Francis, you have 2 cases. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in both. In 20 CF 14514, you were arrested for burglary of a dwelling and petty theft pursuant to a warrant. Bond on count 1 is $1,500. Bond on count 2 is $100. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victim. 20 MM 9053, you were arrested for petty theft. There's probable cause. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the witnesses. Your bond is $250. Thank you, ma'am.
Would the court have any objections to a pretrial release? It seems that this may be her first arrest ever, unless I have like a wrong sheet.
She has 2, she doesn't qualify. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Your name?
Jessica.
Ma'am, this is 20 CF 15089. You were arrested for driving while license suspended. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to drive without a valid driver's license. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon. Your name?
Jennifer Hilaire.
Ma'am, you're here in 19 CF 6761. You failed to appear for arraignment.
Yeah.
Your bond is set at none. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you if they weren't previously appointed. They'll need to file a bond motion in Division 16. Thank you, ma'am.
What does that mean?
Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Cedric Jackson.
Mr. Jackson, you were here in 20 CF 15103. You were arrested for grand theft of a motor vehicle, driving while license suspended, carrying a concealed firearm, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, grand theft of a firearm, trafficking in oxycodone greater than 25 grams but less than 100, possession of a controlled substance, possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver, fleeing and eluding, and possession of a prescription drug without a prescription. The court finds probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You are not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription.
Yes, ma'am. It was just in the car, ma'am.
Sir,
I'm sorry.
you don't need to tell me about what happened, okay?
Sorry,
I'm just going to
ma'am.
set your bond. I'm not saying if you did or you didn't do anything wrong.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bond on count 1 is going to be $150. Bond on count 2 is $100. Bond on count 3 is $150. Bond on count 4 is $150. Bond on count 5 is $150. Bond on count 6 is $25,000. Bond on count 7, $150. Bond on count 8, $150. 9 will be $150, and 10 is $100.
Thank you, Your Honor. Happy holidays.
You too, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, good afternoon. Your name?
Good afternoon. My name is Trayshawn Jones.
Mr. Jones, you failed to appear in 20 CF 11927 for arraignment, sir. Your bond is $1,000. I'll appoint the public defender if they weren't previously appointed. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Jason Kennan Jr.
Sir, this is 20 CF 15078. You were arrested for grand theft of a motor vehicle. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim or return to the scene. I am going to place you on pretrial release, sir.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you.
Find a waiver of his appearance based upon his refusal to come to court. In 20 CF 15076, he was arrested for petty theft. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. He's not to return to the Family Dollar or have any contact with the witnesses. Bond is $1,000. I'm not going to take any action on his other cases. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Andrew Leonard Lewis Jr.
Mr. Lewis, this is 20 CF 15083. You were arrested for petty theft. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Sir, you cannot return to the Winn-Dixie.
Yes, ma'am.
Or have any contact with the witnesses there, and I'm going to release you on your own recognizance at this time.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
Tomorrow
sir.
I'll be going home.
Does he have any other holds?
No, Your Honor.
You'll be leaving today.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a blessed Christmas.
You too, sir. Sir, good afternoon. Your name?
Daniel Rakes.
All right, just 1 second, Mr. Rakes. This is 20 CF 15084. Mr. Thompson, I'm going to appoint your office to represent him. Would you like to waive his appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
He was arrested for possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia, resisting officer
Your
without
Honor,
violence.
I'm sorry, Stephen Mullen, he bonded.
He did?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Rakes. Sir, you are here in 20 CF 15066. You were arrested for petty theft with 2 prior convictions. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to return to the Home Depot, and your bond is $1,000, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there any way that I got some other petty thefts? The bonds are like $10,000. I can get out. I got $2,000.
So you would need to have your, I don't have a motion before the court today, Mr. Rakes. You have to have your lawyer file a motion to see if the judge will grant that request. But I have to have a motion before the court, and I have to give the state notice of that.
So those were extra charges?
This is a new case. Let me see the date.
Because the drug paraphernalia, I had to look at a video, and they dropped that.
Yeah. So this is, the allegation in this report is stemming from November 23rd.
I was in jail on November 22nd.
Well, excuse me, this is when the officer was called, so, I'm gonna give you this, Mr. Rake, so that way you can read it and you can understand what the allegations are, but I think it actually stems from an incident in July.
So it's an add-on, or?
Correct.
It's a petty theft that got moved to a felony.
They're charging as a felon, a petty theft with 2 prior convictions, so it is a felony. That's what you were arrested for. I don't know what the state's gonna file on. Or did you need that one?
Yeah, it's
I'm sorry, Denise.
No, it's okay.
But it is an add-on from July. I'm gonna give you the affidavit.
Ma'am?
I'm gonna give you the affidavit, so just a second.
Yeah, I know, he's trying to say.
Thank you. No problem. Good afternoon, your name?
Daniel Robinson.
Mr. Robinson, this is 20 CF 15092. You were arrested for burglary of a conveyance and grand theft third degree. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is $1,500. Your bond on count 2 is $150. You're not to have any contact with the victim or return to the scene.
Is there any, does anything change because the property was returned?
That's a good question for your lawyer, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Roby is done. Sir, good afternoon. Your name?
My name, James Samuels.
Sir, this is 20 CF 15087. You were arrested for possession of cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. Your bond on count 1 is $1,000. Your bond on count 2 is $100. I'm not going to revoke your release and you're out on bond case. Thank you, sir.
Okay, can you tell me my bond one more time?
Excuse me?
My bond one more time. You said
Tell me what it is.
1,000?
1,000 on count 1 and 100 on count 2.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that everything?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Your name?
Halo Santiago.
Ma'am, you were here in 20 CF 14431. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant for aggravated assault with a firearm and stalking. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons that you may have need to be surrendered to the police within 6 hours of your release from custody.
Okay.
Your bond on count 1 is going to be $1,000. Bond on count 2 is $1,000. I'm also going to place you on pretrial release, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Your Honor. Is Albert Serrano, Jr.?
Yes, Mr. Serrano, you have 2 cases. I will appoint the public defender to represent you in both. You were arrested in 20 CF 15054 for possession of cocaine and possession of cannabis less than 20 grams, as well as driving while license suspended. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender, as I stated. Sir, you're not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription, and you're also not to drive without a valid driver's license. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance at this time.
And Your Honor, may the state have the CT case number, please?
20 CT 7974.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Elijah Smith, Jr.
Mr. Smith, this is 20 CF 15088. You were arrested for possession of MDMA. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond is going to be $500. Miss Davis, were you going to give me a form for the PTR case?
Oh, they didn't give us one.
Okay.
They didn't forward one over.
All right, I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case.
Ma'am?
Sir?
What did you say?
You're going to be able to bond out today.
And if I didn't have the bond,
I don't understand.
how long would I have to sit if I couldn't pay the bond?
I don't know. That's all, probably about a month.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good afternoon. Your name?
Kevin Speakman.
Mr. Speakman, you were here in 20 CF 15085 for possession of a controlled substance. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in that case, as well as 20 CT 7975, where you were arrested for driving with a suspended license. There's also probable cause in that case, sir. You're not to drive without a valid driver's license or possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. Your bond in the CF case is going to be $1,000. Your bond in the CT case is $100. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, your name?
Cedric Taylor.
Mr. Taylor, you were arrested in 20 CF 14633 for possession of a weapon by a convicted delinquent. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you, sir. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms, and your bond is $2,000. I'm revoking the bond in 20 CF 11022. That bond will be set at none. Thank you, sir.
Bond will be what?
I revoked your bond. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Matthew Whitehouse.
Mr. Whitehouse, this is 20 CF 15086. You were arrested for possession of fentanyl, possession of methamphetamine, and possession of drug paraphernalia. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. Bond on count 1 is $1,000. Bond on count 2, $150. Bond on count 3 is $100, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
My name is Frank Wilson.
Mr. Wilson, you have 2 cases. 20 CF 283, you failed to appear for court on the 16th of October of this year, sir. Your bond is set at none. And in 20 CF 10697, you were arrested pursuant to a warrant for aggravated assault with a firearm. Your bond is $2,500. You're not to have any contact with the victim or possess any weapons or firearms, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Hector Zarati.
This is 20 CF 15032. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant for criminal mischief greater than $1,000. Your bond, sir, is $1,000. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you.
Okay.
You are not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victim.
Yes, ma'am.
You have 20 CF 14884. You were arrested for fleeing and eluding.
Yes, ma'am.
This was also pursuant to a warrant. Your bond will be $2,500. And in 20 CF 14807, you were arrested for dealing in stolen property, false verification of ownership, and petty theft. This was also pursuant to a warrant. You're not to have any contact with the victim or return to the scene. Your bond on count 1 is $1,000. Your bond on count 2 is $150. Your bond on count 3 is $100.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anything else from the state?
I'm sorry?
I said anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
No, Your Honor.
All right, court will be in recess.